Let's take a quick stroll down memory lane. Do you recall the tales our parents and grannies shared about purchasing a product so excellent that it was passed down to aunts and uncles, continuing in use for an extended period until it reached the end of its usability? That familiar story, right? Well, it appears that many of us in the 90s shared a similar experience, as every member here can attest to hearing such tales. However, it seems those days have become a distant memory. Perhaps you've noticed it too. But the products we've acquired in the past decade, ranging from technology to clothing and beyond, have witnessed a decline in quality compared to earlier times. Phones are more prone to damage, sweaters tear more easily, TVs burn out and stop working within a few years, and even smart toasters unexpectedly malfunction. The list of disappointments seems never-ending. So, what exactly is happening here? You see, let's kick things off by holding ourselves accountable first. By doing this, we may find ourselves not too distant from the truth because, indeed, unfortunately, we play a role in the problem. Traders label it the fear of missing out, FOMO. But in this context, it manifests as an unceasing longing not to miss the next great thing. To express it more concisely, it's the art of consumer engineering. As consumers, we've been consistently conditioned to engage in a cycle of constant purchasing. Buying, 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 and buying. Take, for instance, the routine for many to indulge in new clothing acquisitions at least once a month, regardless of the available wardrobe space. A considerable number can't resist the annual ritual of upgrading their smartphones, whether the current device is still functioning well or not. Because of our never-ending appetite for buying, companies have been pushed to produce newer products and models more quickly and in the most affordable way possible just to stay profitable. As a result, they take shortcuts when it comes to both labor and materials, ultimately impacting the quality of the products, and we're left with a bunch of not-so-great things. But we can't put all the blame on ourselves. I mean, we're spending our hard-earned money on the things we buy, so shouldn't they last as long as they used to? Especially now, with the ongoing global inflation, prices and products are on the rise. Yet the quality often leaves much to be desired, leaving our wallets in distress. This issue comes from various factors, and we'll delve into each one in this video, offering insights into what you can do about it. So let's jump right in. First off, let's understand the basics of product design. Does the product look good? Is it doing its job well? And how easily and affordably can it be made in large quantities? For a product to be truly good, it needs to bring together three essential aspects, just like our parents and grandparents used to enjoy. A perfect blend of functionality, looks, and simplicity in making. Back then, there was this harmony where things worked well, looked nice, and were made with ease. However, this harmony got disrupted lately, and the part that got hit the hardest is the ease of making things. The significant change started during the Industrial Revolution when machinery and tools entered the picture to boost production on a massive scale. So instead of manually crafting a pot, you could now rely on a machine to simplify the entire process. Switching from making one pot per hour to producing as many as possible might seem fantastic and smart. However, the tricky part is, if the design of the pot is flawed, it means cranking out thousands of poorly made pots that end up in the hands of consumers like you and me, who are just looking to replace our old and rusted pots. It turns into a huge mistake, too expensive for the company to fix, and we, the end users, have to deal with the consequences. Adding to the challenge is the global economic downturn. Logically, a well-crafted jacket should be more expensive now than it was back then because it costs a bit more to make. But here's the thing, this isn't the reality. The worldwide economy isn't on our side, and even though consumers are always encouraged to want the next best thing, their purchasing power isn't fully supporting them. Simply put, people generally don't pay much attention to the makers and would prefer to keep paying the same amount for the same product. So the big question is, what happens to the companies producing these items? Well, they're left with no choice but to make some cutbacks to match the unchanging prices, and unfortunately, the quality often ends up taking a hit. Interestingly, companies have come up with clever ways to make the product seem just as cool and sleek, even though, in reality, it has gotten worse. Take the fashion industry, for instance, where the material might change from thick to thin. In electronics, screws and bolts might be swapped out for glue, and plastic might replace metal. These adjustments in design are making the things we buy not last as long as they used to. Let's quickly dip into the tech industry to explain this further. Back when computers first hit the scene, upgrades were obvious. What a device from 2 years ago could do was very different from what a brand new one on the market could achieve. So people had legitimate reasons to buy the latest stuff and feel like they were getting true value for their money. The The replacement cycle was quite healthy. For instance, the iPhone 3G was significantly different from the iPhone 4. However, the same can't be said for the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 14. Many argue that there's actually no notable difference between the two, just some slight button tweaks. This is precisely what we're discussing. We don't see significant changes as often anymore, only minor adjustments year after year. It appears to be a smooth ride for these companies because our generation isn't very familiar with what high quality truly looks and feels like. The rise of dropshipping has made it even easier. You can order, check, and pay for things online without physically inspecting them until they arrive. Unfortunately, some manufacturers exploit this situation to the maximum. Now, we're not pointing fingers at dropshipping itself, but it has, whether directly or indirectly, played a part in why everything we purchase seems to be of lower quality. We only get to see these items in pictures, videos, and demos, and time again, these displays turn out to be misleading or insufficient. Another culprit in this scenario is social media. Social media trends complicate matters, with stars, often known as influencers in this realm, taking the forefront in this ongoing battle. Influencers are swift in initiating trends that encourage people to make impulsive purchases. The landscape sees a constant influx of new trends on social media, adding more strain on manufacturing companies to meet consumer demands and deadlines. Conversely, some companies leverage these influencers to endorse their products. True to their name, influencers hold considerable sway over a vast online audience, both directly and indirectly, prompting them to buy items they endorse, products that might not have undergone thorough testing for durability before being endorsed. So, social media operates like a two-way street, and social media influencers play a crucial role in the middle of it all. Now let's loop back to the changes in how things are made. There's a noticeable decline in human involvement in our production process, and it's making a big impact on the quality of what gets produced. It's like a ripple effect, you know? Each reason we've talked about in this video is connected to the others. The shift in how things are made has allowed companies to cut down on labor costs, and some have even skipped it altogether. The reality is, it's actually more budget-friendly to design things in a way that minimizes the need for human labor. Even more crucially, it will save you precious time and hard-earned cash. But what's the trade-off? Robots are taking over from humans in various industries, and it's hitting end users harder than we might realize. This spans across all sectors: fashion, technology, hospitality, agriculture, you name it. We could dedicate over an hour in this video talking about the numerous reasons why everything we purchase seems to be of lower quality nowadays, and we wouldn't run out of explanations. However, what's the solution? What can we do about it? Firstly, and perhaps the most evident, is making thoughtful and careful choices about what you buy. Always conduct your own research, independent of what any social media influencer or the latest trend suggests. Secondly, think about consulting with real people who have already experienced the product. Go beyond just reading online reviews, because these days, a lot of marketing tricks are deliberately used to deceive unsuspecting consumers into buying products. Thirdly, always keep in mind that you have rights as a consumer. So, don't hesitate to make manufacturers answer for their promises and push them to do what's fair. If you get a faulty item, return it and make sure you get your money back according to their refund policies. This action sends a clear message to the manufacturer that you, along with many others, won't stand for poor quality and are ready to expose their deceptive practices. This way, you're not just looking out for yourself, but also playing a part in helping the whole ecosystem steer clear of these kinds of items with subpar quality. Moving on to tip number 4, always take a moment to read the label. Paying attention to the smallest details, like the expiration date and materials used, can shield you from ending up with a product that lacks quality and durability. What's more, comparing these details can help you pinpoint the best deals, often for the same price. Even though they might have less flashy packaging or relatively modest advertising, what this boils down to is that instead of splurging on packaging and ads, they invest their resources into the production process, ensuring the quality matches what our parents and grandparents had in their time. This also means that a high price tag doesn't automatically guarantee top-notch quality. Let's circle back to the first tip. Always do your own research before swiping that card. It helps you learn a lot before making a purchase. Also, remember this issue is widespread globally, affecting us all. So, don't be too hard on yourself when your 1-year-old sweater suddenly gets a few holes or your 3-year-old fancy TV can't be fixed. It happens, and you don't have to be tough on yourself. We'll get through this together. And with that, we've reached the conclusion of the video. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.